Did you ever start a nutritional diet and planned out what to eat? Usually, a healthy nutritional diet would consist of proteins, such as meat, dairy products, and fish. Now, fish have lots of benefits, but what if I told you that the fish you're eating is toxic? This is because, right now, the Earth's oceans contain tiny fragments of plastic debris, which we call microplastic. Now, these microplastics are formed by the fragmentation of plastic bottles, plastic bags, construction materials, clothing, etc. They act as environmental pollutants that prevail in oceans, remote islands, and polar regions. Now, hypothetically, what would happen if a human ate a fish that has consumed microplastics? Well, first we'd have to talk about the effects of microplastics on a fish. If a fish consumed plastic, it would suffer from neurotoxicity, growth retardation, and behavioral abnormalities. And studies show that nearly 386 fish species are affected by microplastics. Moving on with our assumption, a human ate a fish that has consumed microplastics. Now, what would happen to the human in this case? Firstly, human consumption of microplastics will lead to an increased exposure of chemicals, which will result in poisonous effects, such as metabolic disorders, DNA damage, neurotoxicity, reproductive and developmental toxicity. Unfortunately, babies have it worse when dealing with microplastics. According to a 2020 study, babies had 10 times higher levels of fragments of microplastics present in their feces than adults. The study also states that infants can ingest up to 4.5 million plastic particles per day when they are fed from polypropylene bottles, which is usually the reason why doctors advise breastfeeding. A UAE article by Fadi Jamil states shocking statistics about plastic. For instance, the article states that 73% of beach litter worldwide is plastic. It also states that the number of plastic water bottles produced in the United States alone is enough to circle our planet 5 times. If we don't find a solution in the next 30 years or less, there could be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Fadi Jamil also said, I quote-unquote, plastic is ubiquitous, plastic is enduring. However, so too is human ingenuity, and that could be our savior. As we step into the age of technology, still wedded to the age of plastic, it is our capacity for innovation that could rescue us from this self-inflicted plague. I bet you're now wondering, Lamis, you've been talking about how dangerous consuming microplastics really is, but how do we actually avoid it? Great question. There are many ways you can avoid eating microplastics, not just in fish or food in general, but as a lifestyle altogether. For instance, you can avoid eating food in plastic containers, reduce shellfish consumption, use glass or stainless steel water bottles, don't microwave your food in plastic containers, and avoid using single-use packaging. Business-wise, we might be able to convince investors or business people to switch their packaging styles. For example, they can use sustainable materials, biodegradable plastic, paper bags, and reusable bags. In conclusion, if we all work together, I guarantee that with innovation and knowledge, we can opt for a better, sustainable, and plastic-free future.